Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show, and we have a great show for you on Monday, September 30th. We've got returning stars to tell us about their trip to Central America, where they were doing some medical and dental work. A lot of you guys are going to be all right tonight. Trust me when I say this. The female viewership will be through the roof, almost as much as when Pete and Davey do an afternoon show. But it will be awesome. It will be fantastic. We got a great show for you there. All kinds of fun things to talk about. But one of the biggest things, thanks to Pete Melfi and the 904 Now Network, we are now also live on Rumble. This is our first show that we're live on Rumble. Pete's in here watching to make sure this goes well. I'm as excited as I can be. Facebook's been fun because we have a lot of community here locally, but it's not a whole lot of fun when you feel like you're being censored by somebody, and Rumble won't do that to us. So the fact that we're moving there, we'll be able to have comments there, I'm thrilled about. Cannot thank Mr. Pete Melfi for straightening that out for us, because without him, there's no 904 Now Network. Without him, there's no news in St. Augustine. Without him, there's no Van Strange. And without him, Van Strange can't do Florida Man games. So he is awesome. We love Pete Melfi. That should make up for like one show that I said something bad about him. All right, let's make some money while we're here. Bourgeois, Ford, Lincoln, and St. Augustine, their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a new or used car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bourgeois is a family-owned Ford dealership that has been in business since 1949, and Bourgeois Ford Lincoln has been the recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked #1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. Bourgeois Ford also has won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given by Ford Motor Company. Check them out online today at BourgeoisFord.com, or go out there and see Bo and Letty and all of their amazing staff. Stop by Ford's Garage and get that amazing Jiffy Burger that Pete Melfi cooks himself.
Solar Stick. Established in 2006, Solar Stick is a local portable power company proudly committed to American manufacturing, constant innovation, and creating jobs right here in St. Augustine, Florida. Solar Stick's focus on providing solutions for self-sufficiency helps users all over the world complete missions and save lives. Solar Stick, changing lives, saving lives, and reviving American manufacturing. We also have Powell Heating and Air Conditioning. Their dedication to customer service has been evident in everything they do for the 39 years they've been a locally owned business. From the moment they answer your call until the time they leave your home, they're working to make sure you are comfortable and confident about the care and service you receive from Powell. With their fleet of 10-plus trucks, a 15,000 square foot warehouse stocked with parts and equipment, they are ready to serve you around the clock. They service all heating and air conditioning brands, and their emergency service is always open, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, including nights, weekends, and holidays.
All right, and Epic has been a beacon of hope for our community, providing compassionate care for those touched by substance use and mental health disorders. Whether you're a kid, teen, adult, couple, or family, Epic is here to lend a helping hand. With a range of programs tailored to meet your diverse needs, Epic offers accessible solutions for everyone. From their walk-in access center to their mobile response team, from inpatient detoxification to outpatient counseling, Epic provides comprehensive care every step of the way. Their services include psychiatric evaluations, medication management, medication-assisted treatment, care coordination, peer support, suicide prevention training, parenting education, and much more. Whew, they really do it all. Epic, they're amazing. They're absolutely great. Give them a call. They'd be glad to help you if you have any issues, and they're a wonderful partner. They've been in St. Augustine helping people for a long time. Glad to have them as one of our sponsors. All right. So occasionally we get to do these amazing shows where we bring on awesome guests, and they go do amazing things around the world, and then we get them to come back and tell us what they've done. So, Oscar-winning Matthew McConaughey lookalike Todd Bourgeois.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back.
Hey.
I think you actually look better than him as he's getting older. I just want you to know that.
Well, thank
Barbara
you, kind
Jean
sir.
can let us know if that's true or not.
He sure does haunt me, I tell you that much.
Have you been to any Texas games this year?
I have not.
I might send you to a game and like take a camera and just watch you walk in there and talk to people and see how many people really think you're him.
Yeah, just kind of, stay with my back to him and just kind of meander around and start doing like this a few times.
Let's see how far backstage we can get.
My first, my first experience getting that whole McConaughey thing.
Yes.
I'm not joking. I was in the irony. I was in Vegas for the National Finals Rodeo because me and my family had to go watch it. And I climbed one of those giant statue horses. And obviously it wasn't supposed to be up there, but I climbed up and I got on it, and this camera crew came around the corner and they thought I was Matthew McConaughey on top of that horse. They were like, that's Matthew McConaughey, and everybody came around, and I was like,
man, that would have been so much fun.
No, nope, wrong guy.
That would have been super fun. That would have been awesome.
He might have called you and talked to you if he was like, this is not the right guy, but like, hey, let's meet and hang out. He seems like that kind of guy.
Yeah, maybe so.
I would think if it were me and I was famous and I ran into somebody that was really looked a lot like and had the same sound, I would reach out to them. Yeah. Just because it'd be such a, the most sincerest form of imitation. Flattery is most. It's awesome to have somebody go, I want to be like you or act like you, or people recognize it. I would just be like, okay, whatever you want to do. Yeah. The guy Sean Farkas who does Trump, he is so good.
He does a really good one.
He does such a great imitation.
Not as good as Pete's, but he does a good one.
No, well, Pete's the standard.
Yeah.
And then this guy that's like got 1 million followers is like in second place. So yeah.
It's all marketing.
It is. Well, Pete's busy with other things.
Yeah.
Like
getting us on Rumble.
Like St. Augustine, getting us on Rumble, all of those really cool things. So also, Bert Tavary's with us. Best dentist in St. Augustine. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
For that.
So how was the trip? You guys went down to El Salvador. You were there a couple weeks after I was down with Christian surfers. Mm-hmm. So I did see some surf. You guys did get some good surf while you were down there too, which is awesome.
We didn't get like a Mecca swell or anything, fantastic, but we got, there's always a good bump down there. So we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So yeah, it was a good trip. Again, we had a small but mighty team this year, I'd say. And it was just a powerhouse crew that everybody stood on their own feet. We typically take a few students with us, but we didn't do that this year. And it just worked out really good. Everybody was super into it. They kind of knew the flow. We had a few new faces, but they picked things up right away. And, as expected, Bert was the busiest guy that, you could find in the whole area, being the dentist and that need there. So he filled a huge void. And as like I said, predicted, he was just constantly hammering all day long and, had to watch and make sure he was, taking care of himself. When you say hammering,
you just mean working hard.
Working hard.
Because people hear hammering and dentist and everyone just shuddered, right? They're like, oh my God, no, not that.
Drill motor.
There's not an actual hammer.
I feel so good because I thought he would pick that up and bring it back when I went to go see him again. So yeah.
Yeah. He worked really hard. Again, we have to watch him, make sure he takes care of himself because he's such a kind man that he'll work himself to the bone and he won't stop. And I'm like, golly. But we had a real good crew. The physician, jumped in. He figured out what to do real quick. We had a really amazing couple nurse practitioners that really just did the medical side for us, and they stayed busy. A lot of heartwarming experiences too, or heart. Some tears were flowing a few times, and just going through the experience of seeing people that sometimes you can help, and sometimes you come across a case where you can't help, and there's some big challenges there because you want to help, but sometimes you just can't. And then, us physical therapists did the best we could. We bring in the corral and seen as many people as we possibly could and went to many areas, and it was good. We had a really good trip.
How many people a day were you averaging?
I think we totaled somewhere, the count was somewhere around 500 in total. And there was, 6 days of working of the 7, to some extent. So it wasn't, quite 100 a day, but depending on where we were, like one day we were in the Mazada area and we're quite slow that day. We don't know exactly what happened. The beautiful thing is, and I'd like to hear your perspective too, is there's no doubt about it. The country's getting better.
It's my first trip down there was this year. And for years you'd hear how dangerous El Salvador was. Surf was really good, but just how dangerous it was. You don't go anywhere there now where you don't see multiples, 3, 4, 5 person squads that are fully armed. And just about every store of any significance has somebody standing in front of it with a brand new shotgun. It's not their dad's shotgun. It's not some shotgun that, was around for some revolution 80 years. It is, you're looking at it going, That's brand new.
That's a shiny one.
That's really
There's some
shiny.
shine
Yeah,
to it.
that's serious business right there. So you kind of look at that, and it's very interesting to watch the security and stuff. We were involved with a couple of churches in San Salvador, and the Christian surfer groups there, and just really great people. But you can tell they're really proud that their country is doing better.
Yeah.
Still has issues, but they're just really proud that their country's kind of moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Bert, is your third time now.
Yeah.
Well, we went. Your first year was
went down to-
more in Las Flores.
Yeah, Las
more remote
Flores.
area. But did you notice any difference? As far as the country,
People are a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
They got rid of the gangs, and they were telling us last year that they were very happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
They had really
Mm-hmm.
put the population under the gun, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess the president went in there and took like 90,000 gang members, put them in prison. And so the population at large was very happy about that. That's what I felt a lot of relief
For
from
the
even
people.
last year. And we were in the same place in El Tunco and
Mm-hmm.
La Libertad. So, yeah. Speaking of which, when we were down there, I treated a little girl, and she had a Christian Surfer's shirt on. So I said, I know some people that do that. They were just here, and they know the guy from the Colonial Church and everybody that was down there. And her mom is the liaison with Christian Surfers in that church that we went to.
Yeah.
And very nice people.
Yeah.
Little girl. And so the minister was coming out and thanking us for what we did.
Yeah,
You guys were in the other place that day, Todd.
Yeah.
But,
Was that at La Red?
well, you were at La Red that day. That was the
And
day
you
we
were in
didn't have the
Maiwa.
power, and we went up that afternoon
Maiwa.
and ran into them doing work till they had church service. So
Right.
you guys go back next year. I'll try to connect you with some of the people that are from Heaven's Church down there. And they're it really is Heaven Church is the name of the church, and I'll try to connect you with them because they have a lot of contacts down there. Might be very helpful just to have that
Yeah.
backup and some additional people, and they are adopting other churches outside of San Salvador, and they are they're kind of bringing them in, and they'll go help those other churches, which is what we were doing as Christian Surfers. We were out there with people from Heaven's Church, and we were doing the just a lot of work.
Yeah.
We were painting, cleaning, doing all those kind of things. It's great to bring a whole group of people because you get it done in a day,
Right.
and you're like, okay, we had an impact in one day. So that was awesome. Every time you come talk to us, the beginning of the story is always how you get your gear in the airplane.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
So how many check-in people did you have to date when you got back to because I know you're distracting them giving out your number because Bert tells me we just let Todd go talk to him and then we just started handing stuff to
Go
other
behind
people. So how many dates did you have when you got back? Just asking.
Todd doesn't sell himself.
I think we've embarrassed him beyond embarrassment with
No, it's
this.
just funny because
He did get a date. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bert nailed it. He told the story last time of how, we just need that angel who just starts doing this.
Yeah, I went up on the way back, remember, because you had to take the truck.
Yeah.
And I just went to the lady, this airline is really good.
Yeah.
And I said, we always have to find an angel to help us, and you're the angel today. And she was very accepting of it. Then went and got her friend, and just because I don't speak Spanish, she was just like, okay, I'm your angel. Then they helped us push everything through that way. So it was very nice. It's the Avianca Airlines,
That's awesome.
very
Right.
good airline, the way they did things.
So I guess first I'd have to say, thank you to everyone for the prayers because this was probably the smoothest one we've had. We didn't have as much equipment, so that was working in our favor too, because we already had stuff there and then we started, we don't have the need to bring as much with us now. But we had enough to make it super stressful. And there was, this one little angel. She looked at us and worked out great. And, I stayed there and made sure everybody was comfortable. Everything worked out good, made everything go through. including, you know, a couple boards we had. And then ding, she started following me on Instagram. I have no idea how she broke code to figure that out, but she was on my Instagram page watching us go through the mission work. I don't know if she was making sure she didn't just got, but she knew what we were doing, and she was responding to us like, oh my gosh, like you guys are really doing this. Like, yeah, here we are. How did you get my Instagram?
Amanda, it's the only woman in the studio. Would you please tell Todd how a woman would find that information?
When you have ovaries, you are a private investigator. Like all you need is a face, a name, like a destination. You can find it. If you have 1 or 2 pieces of information, that's it.
I'm not sure if she broke code or what.
She knows your social security number.
You got my passport and you
yeah.
take a picture of it or something? Like, goodness gracious.
She just wrote it down.
She probably just wrote it down.
Just wrote down your name.
Oof.
Yeah.
I'm honored, yet terrified.
And the bottom line is we got everything down there intact.
Yeah.
And nice at the same time. And
We're
Now,
good to go.
you guys were staying in El Tunco, right? Somewhere right in that area?
Yeah, we did. Like pretty much right in the town of El Tunco. We
Yeah.
had this spot. It's good. It's looking right out at Bocana actually. So it's a spot, and they're actually renovating it right now because it's not like luxurious at all. It's just the location is just on point. Like walk right out, couple steps down, down the cobblestone, and then boom, you can shoot out of the mouth of Bocana right there to get into the surf. It's nasty, but because it rains every day.
Oh man, when it rains, I mean, nothing like what we had with Hurricane Helena, but it was unreal how much water comes down at night.
It rolls,
and it is just a chocolate brown. I mean, you look at that river and you're like, people are like, I'm going to walk across. It's like, I really don't want to. I really don't want. I don't want to do that.
Close your mouth real tight.
And it's all cobblestones. So the whole time you're walking, it's like, oh man, this is just you don't have really good footing. And as you get older, you're not old yet, but as you get older, you're like, I really don't need to fall here, right? I don't need anything going bad. I just got down here, and we were at K59.
K59.
And then we had parked at 61, walked down to 59. And we all had flip-flops. Well, one of the groups like, well, I don't want Mike to lose his flip-flops. So they took my flip-flops back to 59. My feet were at 61. My feet were at 59. I had to walk back. It's like the 61. I got all the way back, and they're like, oh, we think so-and-so is your flip. And they stopped at that hotel in between the two, the little bar right there. And then I had to walk back. To go get, it's like, man, Tarzan, you got nothing on me today, buddy. I said, I got you today. But man, it was.
Those rocks hurt.
Well, and then we were coming out of the water at K61, and I just kind of lost my balance a little bit right as a wave hit. I went flat on my back on the cobblestones, holding my board over my head. Right, I'm like, save the board.
Save the board.
Save the board.
Because once that thing's dinged up,
save the board.
You're out for a session or two.
People are like, oh, we got pictures of that. I'm like, that's awesome. That's so good, because that was the best fall I've had in a while.
Sprawled out over the rocks.
Yeah. It was just really, so any like kind of really cool stories of somebody coming up that you were able to help? I mean, without going into details and names and stuff like that, but that you were just like, oh my gosh, we're really going to help this person and change their life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to let Bert go first. I have a story.
Well, I'm just doing dentistry. We're doing what we can do when we can do. I mean, there's a lot of things that are way beyond our capabilities to do, even though I have all the equipment and stuff to do just for restorations. But some of their dental cares are beyond what you can do under those circumstances we're working at, out in a field or outside a church building or something like that. So, yeah, I think the hardest part is when you see things you just really can't do enough for them, and everybody needs it. But I think the physical therapists are the ones that see most of that drastic things. Like a few of the newer people on this trip were emotionally affected by what they saw for the first time. People that get, as one lady got in a motorcycle wreck, and there was nothing they could do for her. She was broken, and that was sad. So, and they don't have any care. There's no care. So they just heal that way.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of Todd and these guys do, I think, from not being a physical therapist. But when I get a chance to look over there, they're manipulating people and trying to get them to be able to help themselves to do what they can for themselves to get better physically, because they get hurt and they heal with broken bones and everything else. And it's sad to see, but everybody wants it. Everybody needs it. And it's packed. There's lines everywhere. So.
And you brought an assistant with you.
I brought my son-in-law, new son-in-law, and Matt.
That's great.
What?
Yeah, that's so good.
What?
Oh my god!
Matt.
Yeah, no, it's the famous picture with the pliers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a good picture. Yeah, that was at the end of the day. You can see it's getting ready to rain on us, But yeah, Matt, my son-in-law, came to help me, and he is a surgical nurse, an ICU nurse in his real world.
Yeah.
So he's smart, and he took right to it. We did it. He did get sick. He got really sick. Had to lay in bed a couple of days, but we did a lot of dentistry, and thanks to him. That's all I can say. I cannot do it by myself. I had an angel again for 2 seasons, two trips down there that couldn't come this year. So Matt was replaced her admirably, I have to say.
Yeah.
Well, and I know how much you like him as a dad because you brought him back. Right? Like if you didn't like him, that's definitely a good place to listen. I don't know what happened to him. He just was gone one minute. I don't know where he was.
Matt,
but you brought Matt back, so he must be a good dude.
We helped him back. Yeah, Matt. He's a good guy.
And he is a trooper too, because he got bad sick, and he was laid up in that truck. And I remember feeling so bad for him. I'm like, man, you are not doing well. Like, let's take care of you. And he's just like, no, go. He's like, y'all, I'm good. I don't want to leave. Y'all stay, keep working. And he's just, boo, in mad pain, laid up in the back of that truck.
He's sick.
When you
but he didn't want to leave. Like I said,
we did the
trooper.
work. He got back under the power of it during the day. And then we get back to the room. He was down. He didn't eat for a couple of days.
We had one of the places we went to was upriver, south of San Salvador, and you went to this little island that had electricity, but they just basically had outhouses. Right? There's no sewer; it's just outhouses, and we're watching the women cook, and you're watching them cook, and you're going, "Oh my gosh, this is just amazing!" Right? But you're like, where'd you get the water from?
Yeah.
Right. How long did you boil the water for? So they made some soup, and it was like a crawfish kind of type soup or something. And the locals from San Salvador are watching, said, "Don't eat the soup. Don't eat the soup." Right? And we're like,
the locals are
telling you this. You're like, how tough are the people's stomachs on this island? Right? I mean, it just was like amazing. It did look really good, but I was not brave enough to try that. I was like, when the locals are telling you no, you're like, oh yeah, all right, I'm going to listen to that.
Yeah. I don't mean to rat Matt out or anything, but he kept saying under this point of misery, he was like, I shouldn't have ate the oysters. I was like, you ate oysters?
raw oysters.
Raw oysters? Like, man, you were brave, son.
He blamed the oysters. I think it was surfing out there in that river.
It might have been. That river mouth was.
Nasty.
Like I told you, I wasn't joking when I said keep your mouth tight. Like when I go out in that water, I close my mouth, close my nose too.
I think people that live there, they have some resistance because they were swimming in that river.
Oh, they were, yeah.
I get to have a bad habit of not doing that, and I'll get a little bit of salt water and I'll spit it back out. But when you're down in those environments, when that runoff is down there, you're like, you keep your mouth shut. You do not, because you have no idea. It just takes one of those little germs to get in there, and you're toast for a couple of days.
Yep.
I mean, I take the meds with me all the time, but it's still. Bert and I were with Mark Bailey on a trip to Nicaragua. There's pig farms.
Oh wow!
Up the river, and this river is raging out. I mean, it is dark brown. And Mark has just told us his harrowing story of what he went through when he got a cut in one of these rivers, and all the terrible stuff that he had to deal with medically to heal. And he's like, "Yeah, we'll go surf there right now." And Bert and I are like,
said, "Not us." No. He was ready to go. But I told Matt, go only at high tide rising, so you could see that brown stuff going into the ocean.
Listen, it was it's quite an experience to kind of watch all that, and then you'll be driving, and there's so many little rivers and creeks and streams that go down to the ocean, and people are washing clothes in them.
In it,
They're washing their kids in them. I mean, there's just a whole lot of stuff that goes on in that river.
It's
And
raining.
then it all ends up in the ocean.
Rains
So-
every
Yeah.
night like a monsoon.
Yes.
Right, and washes it all out. Right,
Yeah,
where we're
right
serving.
where you're
Yeah.
at.
Right where we serve.
So, but we had Matt, he was a real man about it.
Yeah.
I had to say, he helped me even when he wasn't well.
So there's not going to be oysters at the
He's
wedding,
got a
right?
smiling face.
No,
No, it's-
no oysters at the
He's
wedding.
smiling right there.
Yeah. I don't see the
Is that
picture.
free
But,
oysters?
I think that was pretty oyster.
no,
right?
it wasn't the oysters really, because
Or whatever
remember
it
that
was.
the other guy there, he ate the same other half of it.
That's right, and he
He didn't get ill. I told Matt it wasn't the oyster, but don't eat raw oysters in El Salvador.
the foot surgeon. Yeah, he did handle that well. You're right.
Well, we
But,
got
sir-
sick one time in Costa Rica, and the only place we could kind of put it to is this little tiki hut that's at the place where we serve. The buddy that I go with, Sal, he put it on. He would only get bottled drinks from there for the next like 2 years that we went down. Like French fries, they got to put it in the oil. The oil's hot. You can order French fries here; it'll be okay. They can't get us with French fries. I'll have a bottled drink. That's all.
We
you
use
wouldn't go
bottled-
near it.
We use bottled water for everything while we're
Yeah.
there. We're buying gallons of it, brush your teeth, everything with it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
Try to do what you can.
that gringo stomach. You got to stay
Yeah.
away from the water.
Yes. When is your next trip back down? When are you guys planning next summer? Are you planning in the spring? What are you thinking?
Well, there's a lot to talk about there, because my connections there. We've been chatting about the situation and how the country is getting better, and there are connections and things of that sort. It's good. It's a very good thing. The country's getting better. I think we're going to start looking more towards the Las Flores area on our next trip.
Yep.
Just to try to get more to these remote or areas of less served, that are less served, and maybe even branching off into Nicaragua a little bit too. So I haven't dialed into exactly what we're going to do for the next one, but we probably are going to do a mixture trip where we'll do like 3 or 4 days in the El Tunco area just to kind of wrap things up, see where we're, what's going on there and help who we can help there, but then take the majority of the time to another location. So again, start branching out a little bit more and dialing in to other places that maybe need more help. And again, I keep saying this every year. I'd like to do more. I'd like to charge, some of my team members who have been with me for a bit that would lead, like I say, I can't take the group, but I want other people to take the initiative to bring more groups out there. We were looking at trying to get a small group, maybe to hit up the Bahama Islands, like the Grand Cay and all that. There's some connections we have there that would be really cool to do, like a spear and serve, type thing. We're trying to dial that in for November, but it's not locked in yet. So yeah, we're just, my dream is to do more. But for now, I know for sure I can hit that October spot, and August spot. And it's, always on my radar, and I try to get things going. So
Any thought? I mean, with the hurricane going through the Carolinas and the damage it did in Georgia and then in Florida, any thought of going up in the mountains in Carolina and trying to do any work up there?
that's a great idea. In my experience, and I could be wrong, and I will be all about helping out and coordinating a team and getting up there and get it. Sometimes in these events, there's plenty of people who need help, but I think about like Haiti when all that stuff happened. I tried to coordinate and get over there too. There was so many groups that moved in, and they kind of were all on top of each other, and then it turned into a bit of they're almost trying to fight for trying to help people to some extent, just so their organization can get some, I'm going to say wins.
Yep.
I tend to kind of sit back, and whenever I'm going to say the good Lord kind of says, hey, you need to go here at this time. If there's a devastation going on, I'll show up.
Yeah.
I'm ready. But until it, that kind of calls upon me, I'm going to, let all these other organizations that have the credentialings and the power behind them to go in and get it done.
Well, that's, I mean, it people want to help.
They do.
Right? But unfortunately, it's kind of the Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, I want to help feed the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
There's 363 other days of the year that those organizations need help. But the majority, well, I'd like to show up on Thanksgiving and Christmas. But we got all these other days. Can you fill these other days and make those Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Yeah.
Then the others, it's so devastated up there right now.
It's
if you
heavy.
went up there, I don't know that you wouldn't just be in the way.
Exactly. That's one of my.
Yeah.
I think there's merit to trying to dial in and see where the help is needed. but there's really cool things. Like, I pay attention to it for like the Cajun Navy. I'm a Louisiana boy. There's an organization there, and they move in and infiltrate on these kind of catastrophizing situations. And I like see what they're doing, and they're doing good work. And but they're not like putting out a call to say, hey, we need more people to come. It's like, hey, we're doing this, we're handling it. So it's a juggle.
They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
After Harvey. I mean, just an amazing, we're just going to roll in there. We're going to help out. We're going to help everyone that needs help. And then we're going to get out. I've got friends that span from Tampa, Madison, Perry area here in Florida, up into the Carolinas that all have been they've all been negatively impacted. Georgia, I've got a friend in Nashville, Georgia. They've all been negatively impacted from losing houses, flooding houses, losing cars. I mean, it's just been that's one of the worst storms I think we've ever seen.
Right. And I mean, I wouldn't, first thought isn't to offer my help as a therapist. My first thought is to go help them, with some man labor, like clean stuff up, help them start rebuilding, because that's majority of what it's going to take now.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's not as many injuries. People got out of the way,
Well, and I think, and the problem with the flooding is it's localized, right? So you have these pockets that everybody in the pocket has been affected by.
Mm-hmm.
But you go 2 miles away, and they're like, what's the problem? We never flooded. Everything's fine. St. Augustine was that way after Matthew and Irma. We flooded, but the northern part of the county, the northwest part of the county, is like, hey, we're fine. Let's get back to normal. And you're like, there's not normal down here, but just a few miles away, there's a lot of normal. And I think that is going to be very interesting to kind of watch it. And there are parts of the island that are still suffering from Matthew and Irma. And you go by and drive and see these houses that people can't afford to fix them up. They just continue to get run down. It's been 7-8 years. So
the blue tarp roofs.
Yes, we were in Pensacola after, I can't remember, it was Ivan that went through. And it was 6-8 months later.
Yeah.
Probably still 10% of the houses had a blue tarp roof.
Tarp on it, yeah.
It was like, somebody needs to put some shingles on it.
I know. That's how you can identify an area that got hit, is the blue tarps.
Yeah, the blue tarps on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
No. So you're going to figure out where to go back next year, right?
Yeah. Oh, we're going to keep doing it. I mean, as long as there's a need, I'll keep showing up. And, and then also until, some organization stops us per se or whatnot, because that's also a deal. We're a group of friends who just go as independents. And as countries develop, I find that they make it harder and harder for foundations to come in, because they want that foundation to register, go through some hoops and loops and swoops. And again, I found that, if you kind of keep it
Cajun Navy.
Just going to get it done. Go and get it done. And I can see where a country would want to regulate that, because you got some people that maybe don't have the best intentions that show up, but again, we know where our heart is, and we show up, and I think we prove our worth over and over again, and we'll keep doing it until they don't let us.
So where do you work here in St. Augustine?
We
got like 7 women that want to know. I mean, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Where do you work here? Because I know you make money doing something here, so you can go spend it helping other people. So where do you work here in town?
Right. I got my hands in a lot of stuff right now, but I mean, for my practice, I have like a private concierge thing. I kind of show up at your house. It's more of a cash-based practice. I don't run through insurance. I still teach at the university on the side too. And then I've got my hand in a startup company where we're building a health and wellness platform. Yeah. So I'm an executive there trying to build this product out. As you know, startups are tough. So we're going through the mill right now. It's a rodeo. And, but I look forward to hopefully launching that next year and getting it going. So.
And Bert, you still have a dream of opening your own dentistry place, right? One day.
I've done it. Been there, done that several times.
But you're still working 2 days a week.
I still work at Salt Run. I just can't plug somebody, Salt Run Family Dentistry, but that's where I work. And same people that I've been working with for, like 40 years, 30, 35, 37, 40 years. And so we all still work together, and it's a good family. Well, you go there.
I go there. The reason I go there is because it's great, and y'all are amazing, and the staff is wonderful. I mean, they're just really, really good people. And plus, I know as long as Bert is working on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I can plan surfing, right? Because
On
I
Tuesday or
know the
Thursday.
waves will be good on Tuesday, Thursday. We had a group chat going a little while ago, and we're like, what day do you think it's going to be good next week? I'm like, Bert has always told me Tuesday, Thursday, so I am banking on Tuesday,
If I'm
Thursday.
at work, that's when it's going to be good every time. Just like, and it proved it.
Yeah, it was good Tuesday, Thursday.
That's true. Yeah. I still get in my sessions.
Yes.
But yeah.
Somebody's got to be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Well, for the surfers out there, there's a little bit of chatter because there's going to be a couple of hurricanes in the middle of the Atlantic. I heard them called fish canes the other day, right? They just stay way out in the Atlantic. They're great, but they're going to produce a swell, and it's going to hit sometime next week. And it just all depends on whether or not we get favorable winds.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we get northeast winds, we're going to have this swell buried under this northeast wind chop. But if we get favorable winds, it could be really fun the middle of next week.
That one.
Yes.
1,000 miles
Yes.
top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's huge, and we're glad it's out there.
Yeah.
Away
way
from
out.
everybody.
Yes.
Way out
Because
there.
that's a bad one, but that should give us some waves for sure next week.
Yeah. So really, I'm kind of looking at that schedule going, okay, what time do I want to go? I'm looking at the tides. I'm trying to figure this thing out. Trying to make sure I don't have a dentist appointment on Tuesday or Thursday.
Or Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah.
It's so
I got
hard
a
to
new
do.
board coming next week too, so
That'll be good.
yeah, time it right.
Yeah. That'll be really good. Did you get some good waves down in El Salvador?
We did. I thought it was good, like every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had the one day on Sunday when you guys went to the waterfall. Matt and I had it to ourselves.
Yep.
For a couple of hours right behind the place. So it was really good. I thought it was good the whole time.
Yeah, they're mediocre to they don't even paddle out as are like heck yeah, like
Exactly.
let's go. So every morning, I mean, I'll just jump in the water. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You're gonna catch some bumps, and that's fun. Way more fun than you typically get here. So
And the people just don't. If you surf in Florida, you surf a lot of stuff that's below waist high.
mm-hmm.
That people would not paddle out on anywhere in Central America. The Hawaiians wouldn't paddle out on it, right? There's just no way. The Australians wouldn't paddle out on it, and we have to. That's it. And then you go other places like, why are you guys so excited? Because this is great compared to where I come from, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is awesome compared to what I normally get.
Do you think that's why? I mean, maybe I don't know the stats for sure, but East Coast Florida puts out some really good surfers.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's why? It's because you
world
got to go
champs.
hustle.
Yeah.
World champs all come from Florida, women and men. Ed Slater, Carolyn Marks,
Frida
Frida Zamba
Yeah.
She just won the Olympics,
from
right?
Flagler.
Mm-hmm.
And, so, but I sent you the videos.
Yes.
It was good.
No, there was some good surf. There really was. I watched you guys catch some good waves, and that's kind of at what I got down there was just kind of a fun, playful wave, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just crashing and killing you. There was one day that it was a lower tide, and guys were out there surfing these. Josh Luderin was out there, and just it was a drop into this foot or so overhead barrel that then stretched for about a mile down the beach, right?
Wow.
It's like, no, it just all closed at one time.
Oh.
It's like, when it's stressing, you're like, why are you taking off on that? And he was just trying to make one. And I'm
trying
like,
to make it down the line.
you're young enough to be flexible enough to be able to do that. I'm just standing on the beach going, I'll wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm good. Tomorrow will be a lot better.
I went specifically to go to Punta Roca this year because last year they cleared the lineup for us, and then we
Yeah.
get over there that day and it was flat.
Yeah. That was the
didn't think it
flattest
would
I've
go
ever
flat.
seen.
Yeah.
With Roca. Like it disappeared, and
We
we're like,
worked
oh, no.
till dark that day. And
What'd you think of the park at Punta Roca?
nice.
Wow, what an
Brand new.
update, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we rolled into that 2 mornings about 30 minutes before dawn, both mornings. One morning's like have a light rain, and we're like, oh, maybe it won't be that bad because it's light rain. And the guards were looking at us like, what are you guys doing here? Right. And we're like, man, did they not open early? And the guards are like, you guys are crazy. And we pull in the parking lot, and there's no cars.
Then
There's not a single car. And I looked and I said, this is not going to be good.
yeah.
If there were waves, there'd be like
Be
20 or
100
30
people.
cars in
Yeah.
there. There'd be people out. The fact that there are no
No
cars
cars.
is telling us we're in the wrong spot.
But wow, I mean, that's WSL moved into that spot, and that looks really nice now.
Yes.
Right there.
They
It's,
really upgraded it.
Yeah.
Even though we still had to have the extension cord to find the power.
Right.
After you guys left, we lost the power. And it's kind of strange because young people run that place.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Young people that are like teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
and they ended up finding out which circuit breaker had popped, and we were able to finish the last 4 or 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that they've really upgraded it with professional surfing's coming in there.
Right. The aesthetics of it is
Very
upgraded for
nice.
sure.
Yeah, I never saw it before now. I mean, to me, it's one of the coolest like surf parks I've seen. And guys are like, no, you just roll up right here. There was no parking lot really. You'd walk right out.
Mhm.
There's the beach. There's Mama Roca down there, farther down the beach that you don't want to hit that rock. So yeah,
There's a pavilion and everything there now.
Mhm.
So
Right.
nice.
it was good. All right, thank you guys for what you do for one, raising the money, taking the time, and going and helping people. I'm really proud that you guys come on the show and tell people what you've done, because that's a lot of your time and a lot of risk going places. Fairly a little bit safer than what it was. We talked about that, but y'all have been in some fairly dangerous places where guys have rolled up a full truckload of guys with guns,
Yeah.
put them down, and let you guys go do work on them. So that
Right.
okay.
Yeah. Going from that to now, they're telling us how they feel safe to walk on the streets at night.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, whoa. We had some interpreters come down from San Salvador
Yeah.
to help us. So they live in the city, and
Mhm.
even San Salvador, the city, is safe now. They're like, it's so good. It's so different. Like we feel comfortable to do these things that we never would do before. And you're just like, wow, man, what a change. Like
Mhm.
countries, like I've never seen a turnaround like that in a country just, happen so fast. So it's super, super cool. And
Yeah.
it's honestly, it's like, I'd put it pretty dang close to a miracle how the
Mhm.
country just changed so quickly for the good,
And you look at how many people's lives are better now because of that.
Wow.
Right. An economic opportunity will follow.
Mhm.
I think they're really doing a good job of trying to bring surfers in there.
Mhm.
And Surf City is kind
Surf
of that
City.
whole theme. There's great waves throughout there, and I think that just it's going to be really cool to watch them up.
Oh yeah. Like
Yeah.
I said, I think we're starting to go, well, this area is dialing in. So
Mhm.
we're going to help when we can, because we got a past in history here, and then we're going to just keep moving on down to where it's needed.
All right. So Monday we do 5 questions.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about this a little bit before the show. So we're dragging you guys into to 5 questions here for the next few minutes. So based on what we witnessed last week with Hurricane Helena, what is the worst hurricane that you've experienced in your lifetime that you've had to deal with?
Would you like me to go first?
Yeah.
So for me,
Mhm.
with the farm being in Louisiana, it was Hurricane Laura.
Okay.
The irony is I was on my way home anyway, and then it hit, and we didn't realize how bad it was going to be. So that was wild. I ended up staying on the farm for probably a month after that, just trying to deal with all the, chaos and, cleanup and everything.
Mhm.
I think we lost, 3 or 4 barns. We lost 1 chicken. No animals died, which is the craziest thing ever. If you
Yeah.
see, it looked like monsters were stepping on hay barns and just exploding them, but animals were fine. It's the
That's
coolest thing ever. So that's the worst storm, but that wasn't the worst thing that affected the farm, though.
Mhm.
I think it made it go down to your next question. So I'll wait for you to think your next question for the worst thing
Okay.
that's happened.
Worst hurricane for me was Opal, and it's one that most people don't really think about on this coast because it didn't affect this coast, but I grew up in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
So I don't remember Hurricane Laura. I mean, we're close-ish in the
You wouldn't have been
Panhandle,
affected, no.
but yeah, I don't think we were affected by that. But Opal was the worst one for us. We had barrier islands that were completely cut off from vehicular traffic, and so the tourist boats were picking kids up and taking them across the gap so that they could get to school, because it's kind of a loop in that area. The Destin, Niceville, Fort Walton Beach area is sort of a loop.
Mhm.
And so 98 washed out in a few places. And so like these crazy, speed boats that would party boats and all these things. And you've got like middle schoolers and high schoolers on the party boat.
Getting across.
Taking them across, because otherwise it was 2 hours to go the other way.
Wow.
Yeah. If you were lucky.
Opal.
And that was one that the only reason I know it is the building officials from St. Johns County went over
Mm.
to assess the damage,
It
right?
was
To
bad.
take a look at,
Yeah.
at what had happened and what building code changes needed to be implemented. Because I think that was in the early 90s, mid 90s.
It was Opal, I think, was 95.
Mhm.
So it delayed my brother getting his driver's license.
Whoa.
Listen to that laugh. Did you hear that laugh?
Yeah.
There was a little laugh in there.
Yeah, there was.
That was a good one.
That was an evil laugh. All right, Bert, what do you got?
Well, I don't hate to age myself, but
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, personally, Matthew did the most damage to me personally in my own personal life. But Hurricane Carla, when I was a kid, I grew up in Texas. We had hurricanes, was the worst because we were a high spot in town where my dad, where I grew up, and we were on a little island. You go about 200 yards in any direction.
Yeah.
And the bow came up and the rivers and all the rattlesnakes and water moccasins
Whoa.
were in the trees.
Oh, no.
The water rose up into the trees, so they were in the trees and very aggressive because of salt water. They weren't used to have that salt water
Wow.
from Galveston Bay came in. So my memory of that one is the most like traumatic of that
Wow.
of my memories. But that was in the 60s.
Yeah.
Um,
So
before you were born.
way early 60s, it would have been before I was born.
Yeah, it was the early 60s.
Mid 60s. I'm in the mid 60s.
He was there for the mid-60s.
I was there for the mid to
You
late
did it?
60s. Yeah. Hurricane Matthew is the worst one
Mhm.
for me, and it wasn't so much wind damage. It was just that's the first storm since the 1960s that put a lot of water in St. Augustine. And
Did.
so watching people have to take everything out of their house, and then Irma hitting us 11 months later and essentially doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Was just really devastating to watch that. It wasn't the destructive power of a Andrew or a Hugo or a Harvey. It wasn't that. We didn't, thank God we didn't have that, or a Dorian that sat over the Bahamas, right? We
Wow.
didn't have that. But that's the most destructive one that I've seen, that you're dealing with it and you're watching so many of your neighbors deal with it. And there are a lot of great stories out of that, a lot of people helping, but that was a devastating one
Mhm.
to watch and see that. So.
I thought I was real lucky because my office, the water got right up to the doors and it didn't get farther, but next to it, down into Davis Shores, where all our friends live, as you're
Mhm.
talking about, that it was devastating.
Yeah,
Wow.
And like you said, my friend Bill had it happen again.
you just had
11
recovered
months
from
later,
it. You
just
just
again.
recovered from it, and then you're like, oh gosh, here
here
we
it
come
is
again.
again. Yeah.
I've got friends in St. Pete. One that had, he had 2-3 feet of water in his house for 6 hours.
6 hours.
6 hours, and completely. They're just sitting on a couch, right, just waiting for the water to go down. And so I'm texting them, and I'm like, hey, when you get through this, give me a call because there's some things you need to do. We've been through this, unfortunately, now 4 times up here. And so, let me know what I can do to help you out, because there's just certain things that people are like, oh, well, I don't have to do this. No, there's stuff you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to get it dry, tear the
You got-
walls off and get things dry in there.
Yeah. It's all gone. You just got
Just
got
remember,
to
it's
get
Tear
it.
it off and
Done.
Well, and then there's stuff you learn, like when Irma came through, we were flood prepping for that, because at one point in time they were saying that storm surge from Irma would be 2 or 3 feet higher than Matthew. So we're taking, all the carpets off the floors and put them on the beds. We're taking all of the dresser drawers out of the bottom 2 dressers, putting those on the bed. Excuse me, tying all the curtains up. Right, you're doing everything you can to keep water away from certain things, because once it gets wet, it's got to go.
Gotta go.
I mean, you can't. So and then the prep on that is, it's. I hope we don't get any of those this year. I don't want to see any more of those. I don't.
Mhm.
no, everyone is. Just this weekend, we spent 2 straight days cleaning the house up, just from
Mhm.
I guess it was up to 70 miles an hour at the beach, and
Really?
it blew sand and slushy salt water and sand all over everything on 4th Street.
Mhm.
And it moved one of the dunes that was on the south side of 4th Street to straight in front of 4th Street during the storm. So
Yeah.
it
Well,
was a pretty unbelievable wind for that.
We
Yeah.
were sitting in our Friday morning meeting. It's about 7:45 upstairs on the 2nd floor, and my son looks out the window and says, "That tree's supposed to be leaning that way?" And we all look out and go, "No, it shouldn't be leaning on the building." No. So Eddie Conlon, tree medic, came over, took care of it in about 2 hours. Was able to get over here. So Eddie was awesome and took care of it. But yeah, that thing was leaning on the building. We're like,
you had to take the tree.
we took the tree down.
Mm.
Yes, that tree had to come down. It was,
Dang.
and it it hit the side of the building, but it probably missed a window by about 4 inches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we took building damage, but I'm not replacing glass, and we didn't have a hole in the glass or any of that kind of stuff. The roof was all fine. So we were really lucky. There's a power pole on the other end of the property that's leaning probably another 10 degrees from what it should be. And you can tell because the lines going across the road aren't tight. So some kind of wind pushed that a little bit too. So
Wow.
We've notified FDNL.
It is strong.
Yeah, it's just about. So next question, most destructive natural force, right? Is it wind? Is it water? Is it heat? Is it cold?
Mm-hmm.
What's just the most destructive force? You said you already had an answer for this.
I did. And again, it all relates to back on the ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Texas got all the, I don't know, media maybe, I guess is what you're trying to say, but the ice storms. I don't know if you recall those ice storms that roll through there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in Southwest Louisiana, and we got hit by the same storms, but the one recently, again, we got hit. That was a horrible year. We got hit by Laura and then another hurricane right after it. And then that February, we got hit with that ice storm. Again, I lost the chicken. That was about the only thing we lost in those 2 hurricanes. I found a chicken in a cupboard, and I don't think it was the hurricane that killed the chicken. I think chicken was just dead. But that ice storm came through, and we lost over 85 head in that ice storm. And Texas got a bunch of, relief from it, governmental relief and issues. So Louisiana, we didn't get nothing.
Yeah.
We ate that.
That's crazy.
That was the most devastating crop we ever had as far as cattle and calf, because they literally, the calves, it puts the cattle under stress.
Yeah.
And they start birthing, and February is whenever we're calving, like as the mama cows are having the calves, and it stresses that cow out, and they start pushing them calves out. They start going into labor, and those calves would just hit the ground and they freeze. The birthing process, the stuff would freeze around them, and then you'd find them and they're already gone. Yeah. We had, I don't know, a barn full of baby calves just trying to rescue. I think we rescued like 55. It was just nuts. I remember the day that happened before when I think I was 14 or 15 years old on the farm growing up. And that is the reason why I live in Florida. I hate cold. I hate cold because of that dang ice storm that came through. I remember walking in layers of clothes, being wet. My horse didn't want to work. My body didn't want to work. I'm like fighting these calves, trying to get them out the mud. I'd pick a calf up. The mama's trying to hook you. And I remember just giving up and going, she's going to hook me. And I don't care. Yeah. I'm holding this calf. And then she just push you, and they push you in the mud. She'd get mad enough to where she'd run off. And then you just slurp yourself out of the mud and pick the calf up and walk back to the house trying to save them. So I just remember that absolute, 3-4 days of just, that sucked.
What year was that?
Again, I was like 14 or 15 years old. I was in high school. It was in the 90s. I don't remember the exact date, but it wasn't good. But this recent one was, again, it was during COVID. We got hit by Laura. That was 2021. Yeah, we got hit. It was crazy, 2 hurricanes, and then we hit this ice storm, and I'm like, what is going on? Yeah. So it was cold. So my choice of that one was the ice. That was the most devastating for our farm.
Yeah. The water molecule is insidious.
Oh yeah.
It'll take down anything. Mm-hmm. And so I was, this isn't even a natural disaster, but I was working at Marineland when the newest habitats were being built. And the day we put water in those habitats, we were all holding our breath. Wow. It's like, you can build it and it'll stand, but will it hold water? Like, we were stressed. And we had water in those habitats for a while before anything went in it. Yeah. And before we even had like pumps and currents pumping through it, because
just to see if it's stress tolerance.
It was just terrifying because we're all super close to it. Those habitats, you can't tell now because it's all tore down. But you could have spit on the habitats from where we were at the Dolphin Stadium. And like that wall comes down, we're toast, dude. Yeah. Like, the Dolphins will just flow on the wave until the intercoastal, but we're crushed. Like, it's done. So yeah, water's terrifying.
Bert?
I say water because of my house on the Vista Circle. And again, it was Hurricane Matthew came, and I had flower beds and a 3-foot seawall. I had a dock, a no-profile boat lift, all that on there. And the next day, it had been scoured, cleared from the house. It was all gone. I don't know where the dock went.
Gone.
The boat lift, all those brick raised flower beds, the grass, everything gone. And I could look through the house from one side to the other. The walls were gone. Everything was out in the front yard. And I was like, how'd this happen? And somebody told me a cubic yard of water weighs a ton, right at a ton. And you have all those tons pushing behind it. So once it gets out of its controlled, like you're saying, environment.
Where it's supposed to be.
It starts
if it's
raising
somewhere
hell
where it ain't
then.
supposed to be.
It is. And that's not even counting the wetness of it. Like you
Yeah.
talked about all those houses. And
I was watching a video. I kind of scoured social media this Sunday and was looking for videos that had come out of North Carolina, and there was a Linville Falls, which is a very beautiful falls.
what did you see that?
It
was something.
I don't know what Linville Falls is going to look like when it finally calms down, but I don't think it's going to look like the same Linville Falls, right?
Yeah.
When you see it normally, it's not a trickle, but it's a stream going over the rocks.
Yeah.
And I saw what you saw.
Yeah.
It was like Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls going over that same.
So, it's tearing the walls down.
Yeah.
And no telling what's below that.
Yeah.
The falls go down to the bottom, but.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I was fortunate enough to hike the Grand Canyon 35 years ago. And when you look at what water did there for a long time, you're like, it's pretty powerful, right? Because it's just carving on rock, and it's just carving on it over a long period of time.
Yeah.
You look at all of those rocks that we walk over, those cobblestones in El Salvador, and how many years that ocean has just been molding those rocks.
Molding.
Right?
And
Tide
when
after
it's hurting
tide
your
after
feet, you're
tide.
like, when is it going to go away? And
Yes.
you see some sand here,
Yes.
because it's painful.
Yes. All right. October is not my favorite month for movies. I'm not a scary movie fan, but it seems like all we're going to get is scary movies for the next 31 days starting tomorrow.
Bless.
So do you have a favorite scary movie?
I am not a scary movie fan myself. I actually find them to be more humorous than I do scary most of the time. But the good ones, they're good. I can't really think of one that really got me as far as scary movies, though. So I think I'm going to have to pass. I don't have a good one.
So, I don't know if it qualifies as scary movie. I'm trying to look it up. So the one that scared me the most was Event Horizon. And there's this movie called like Dale and Son. I'll try and find it, but it's this hilarious slasher movie where it's these two buds have this just rundown cabin that looks like a serial killer cabin, and they just think that it's like the bee's knees. It's the best thing. And so they're like spending their weekends working on it, and these college kids are all like hepped up on goofballs, and they think that these two country boys are gonna hurt them, and they're not. And so they keep like trying to get the country boy that what they think are serial killers before they can, and they keep like dying in really horrific and hilarious ways. Tucker and Dale, I think I'll find it and I'll put it up. But that's the best. But it's a slasher. It's not scary, but it's hilarious. It's so funny.
No question in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The first Exorcist movie. It sent me back to church.
Send me back to
I
church.
came out. I watched it. I remember saw it in Pensacola with a friend of mine I used to surf with, and I remember we came out. We saw the matinee, so we came out of the movie, and all I could think was, "Thank goodness it's sunlight out here." It scared me to death.
Well, my dad did not have an iron stomach, right? So if he saw any kind of blood or any kind of thing, so my mom was so afraid he was going to throw up in the middle of that movie. That
was
one
wild.
scene, she's like, "Oh no, he's not going to make it through this." But I'm not. I always kind of I tell people, "Why don't you like scary movies?" I said, "Well, I grew up on John Wayne. When John Wayne shot the bad guy did not get back up. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was so for me. There was some finality there. I was okay with that. There was a good guy, and then they took these slasher movies to a level where the
It's bad.
villain never died. You're
Like Jason.
yeah,
Jason never dies.
All of those, I'm like, okay, I'm
Chucky.
yeah. There was one movie. It's called Motel Hell. It was on HBO. It was a really kind of a B horror movie, and that was a funny movie. I mean, you get to the end of it. It was about a guy who was making sausage. He made the best sausage. People come from forever, and they would stay in his hotel, but they never leave his hotel.
Whoops.
Yeah, it gets to the very end, and they finally kill him. They couple of kids get him, and he's like, "I was such a fraud," and they're like, "Why? Because you used humans?" It's like, "No, I used preservatives." That's the end of
The end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie. I'm like, okay, I can.
The one I was thinking of is Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Okay.
And it's bloody and gross and wildly inappropriate and also hilarious. So there's that.
All right. The last question is your question about some alleged candy.
Oh.
So let us know what this alleged candy is that we're supposed to comment on.
So I like candy corn candy, and evidently that makes me a sociopath.
It
so
does.
I'm here.
Yes, we all vote yes.
I'm here to put out there, like, it's not candy corn that's your enemy, it's circus peanuts. So circus peanuts versus candy corn, what do you choose? I'm candy corn.
As a dentist, what do you recommend?
Oh, wow. You recommend to eat?
How heavy this was.
That's tough. I'll tell you this. I don't know what circus candy is, but I'll tell you this. I'm not eating any candy corn. It's the bottom of my list. Even when I was a kid.
Wow.
What you would do is stay away from the houses that would give you this little pack.
100%.
Would you get candy corn? Not going there. Don't go back. No.
No, you did not go back.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to tell you how bad candy corn is. I'm going to just explain this to you, right? You picked a candy that we don't even know to compare it to. You didn't put it up against M&Ms. You didn't put it up against jelly beans. You didn't put it up against Skittles. You put it up against an unknown candy because you knew it would lose to all those other candies.
You only see one time a year. You only see circus peanuts at Halloween.
I've never seen it.
And it's because it's worse than candy corn. There, just pick it.
Could have picked Peeps or something. You just got to pick Peeps. I hate candy corn. I hate candy corn.
This little duck.
Irrational candy corn hate.
Yeah. It's just like, it's not any good. It was literally like a wasted trip up a driveway to a house.
It's
when
delicious.
you were a kid. It was like, do not go. I mean, it wasn't like, don't go to the scary house, Todd. Just don't go to that house because they give candy corn. And all the kids are like, okay, we're not going to that house.
Todd hasn't answered. He might like candy corn.
All right, Todd.
You like candy corn?
I like candy corn. I like candy corn.
Candy corn's delicious.
I like it. I'm glad there's variety because that means more candy corn for me.
I know. Everybody would always give me their candy corn, and I was happy about it. I don't care.
I'm down for candy corn.
This is my question.
Will I eat it? No.
What is candy corn?
Yeah, exactly.
It's some kind of waxy substance.
It's definitely not food. No.
I looked it up. It's a form of meringue, but it has other stuff in it as well. Meringue. Yeah.
Is that food too?
Yeah. Meringue's egg whites and sugar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of a marshmallow cream, which is a type of meringue, but there's other stuff in it.
Other than candy corn, what's the favorite Halloween candy?
Ooh. So favorite Halloween candy? I'm always going for the Reese's peanut butter cups if I'm trick or treating. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Cadbury Cream Eggs has a Halloween egg now.
Bert?
I usually get the package of combination where you have like Mr. Good bars, Baby Ruths, all
Hershey
of it,
bars.
all that in one big bag.
Yeah.
And then nobody ever comes by our house, so it's
Yours?
down the goozle. Yeah, it's ours.
Yeah.
That's my
Lisa's
favorite.
like, why did you buy a suitcase full of this? In case kids come by this year?
We leave it out, nobody takes it.
I would just go for the special dark and that thing. I would leave the rest of them alone. I was the guy digging through for the special dark chocolate. For me, it was Reese's peanut butter cups.
Wow.
But I didn't really eat a lot of them on Halloween night. You had to put them in the refrigerator or the freezer. You got to freeze those things. Those are so good when they're cold.
I cannot get behind that.
They're so good. All right, candy corn aficionado.
You guessed it.
Yeah.
I go for the candy corn, bro.
Yeah.
Anything else other than candy corn?
If it's a Halloween thing, it's like if someone says Halloween, I think candy corn. It's horrible. I can't believe that there's a.
They're the pumpkins too.
Yeah.
Have you had the pumpkins?
I've had the pumpkins.
So I get those so I hoard those because my brother and I both like them. My brother didn't used to, but he does now. And so I realized that once he got into his late 30s, he likes it. So now I'll just randomly send him the pumpkins.
Wow.
And he'll freak out. He loves it.
I mean, I just wanted to be, I don't normally eat candy, and come October, I don't just start hammering candy corns. It's just, if I had a choice to eat something of the sort, I like candy corn.
You and I be standing just like, okay, I'll take all the Reese's. You have all the candy corn, right? Here we go. And don't tell Amanda you have the candy corn because she will come over to your house and beat you and steal it.
Andy even likes the circus peanuts. He likes candy corn and circus peanuts. He wants both. See? Look at that.
No, I can't do it. I can't do it. All right. I want to thank you guys for coming back on. If you got more news, come see us again.
Yeah, sure.
You guys are absolutely awesome. It was really, really fun. The 5 questions was phenomenal today. You guys were awesome in that. So we will see you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate all the support and everyone out there helping us. Man, it really is awesome.
All right, Davey and Amanda will be here tomorrow night. I've got planning and zoning, which will last until sometime close to midnight, probably. Not that late, but I mean, it'll feel that way. 9 o'clock is midnight for me. So you guys join them tomorrow. Tune in the morning show, afternoon show, all those fun things. Thank you all very much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.